Hello everyone, this is Prof Mobius and I'm going to demonstrate Opis 1.2.1. So quite a bit of changes in this version compared to the old 1.1 series, and I'm going to show you almost everything, I guess. So to get started, what you have to do is to type in /opis. This is a basic command and it's going to start a new interface, which is an independent window, as you can see, and you can it's where you are going to control Opis. We have quite a few tabs, so I'm going to describe all of them and quite a bit of data. So the first thing you want to do is you get like dynamic data already, as you can see. So you have the tick time and the amount of tile entity and entities in your world. But the first thing you want to do is to run Opis. So you just click on Run Opis. You have like a nice progress bar telling you how far it is in the run. And once it's done, here we go, you get the timestamp of the last run, and the timestamp is in local time, not server time, so you can know when it was run for the last time in your time zone. You get a summary of all the data from the different tabs here. So the first one is the world tick, which is more or less the amount of time taken to do things like update the light and spawn calculation server side, and also to do random block ticks for things like group and everything which grows in Minecraft. You also have the timing for tile entities and the amount, the timing for entities and the amount of entities, and the timing for handlers and the amount of handlers. Handlers are things which are ticking only once, which are run only once per tick, and control usually a bunch of functionalities which are not directly related to the world, or control a bunch of blocks all at once. I'm going to explain it better when I reach the given tab. And you have the total for it. If you hover the world tick, you are going to have a tooltip which is splitting the world tick per dimension. Right now it's the only tooltip I have, but I'm going to add more with more like breakdown on all the values as I go along. You also have the upload and download from the server point of view. So upload is the data you are sending to clients, and download is the data you are receiving from clients. And you have the amount of forced chunks and loaded chunks. So forced chunks are chunks which are forced by things like chunk loaders, and loaded chunks are, well, chunks which are loaded. So here we can see 25, and if I look at my chunk loader, we can see that I have 25 chunks, so values are matching. The next tab is, oh yeah, and this, I nearly forgot. It's the tick time, but with a graph. So basically it gives you in real time, it's a real time TPS command done over the last 20 ticks. So you can see how your tick is evolving, and when you are turning on a machine or something, and you see the tick time like climbing to a new value and everything. So it's a really neat way of knowing what's going on your server and to check up on server health. The next tab is it's dynamic. This one is always updated in real time. So as you can, if I start moving along, you can see that the value are changing as I'm moving. It shows the players on the server. You can center your map on the player, or you can teleport or pull the player. So teleport is to teleport to the player, pull is to pull the player to you, and it works across dimensions. So you can pull someone out of a bad dimension, or teleport to him, or whatever you want. In a future version, it's also going to show all the inactive players, not only the logged one. After that, you have the entity amount. So entity amount is well, the amount of each entity type breakdown by type. So it's not real time since it's quite a bit of data to send. So you have to hit refresh to get new data, and you can see the different type of entities. It also lets you kill all the entities of one type. So let's say let's say I have my zombie pigmen here. If I do kill all here, it's going to kill all the zombie pigmen on the server. Easy enough, and you have to refresh after that to get the new data. Let me put back some pigmen. Here we go, so refresh, and we have zombie pigmen here. You can filter entities, so filtering is just to stack, to display all the stacks and players as one on tree, because sometimes it can become really large. So if you do so, you will see player 1 and drop it item 5. So let's say I just drop a bit of bread around, and I refresh, and now we have dropped item 7, 8. And if I don't filter it anymore, we can see that we have bread 3 stacks, which are here. Tile entity timing. So this part need to be run. You have to run Opis first, and it corresponds to the old timing interface. So you are going to see all the ticking tile entities and their timing on the side. You can center the map on them, like this, or you can teleport to them by just clicking on teleport. So let's say the chunk loader over there, teleport. It's going to teleport to it. It shows tile entity with a red highlight, so you can easily find it, and you can reset the highlight by reset highlight. Easy enough. You can sort the table by time, by mod if you want, by type. So classical stuff, and you get the top 100. So the 100 slowest one. And there is always, when the table requires an Opis run, you always have a run Opis button available. Entity timing, it's the same thing as tile entity timing, but you have so the type of entity, the internal ID, dimension, position, update time, the number of data points. Entities are a bit more dynamic than tile entities. They can spawn or despawn during the run, so you can know how many data points you have. It's already filtered to not show anything under 40 data points, and value lower than 250 are going to be less precise. So use at your own risk when, or you can run it again if you have like really high value with less than 250. Same way, you can center the map on it. You can teleport to it, or you can pull it. After that, we have the handlers. So I talked about it a bit before. Handlers are things which are handling other features of the mods, which are not related directly to blocks or entities or this kind of thing. So in the case of thermal expansion, the tick handler is what handles the grid, the transfer of items. If we look at the tile entities and mods, you can see that we only have 2 tile entities which are actually using server time. It's those 2 cells. The handler is in fact handling the piping itself. So right now we can see that this small grid is taking 12 microseconds. As you build bigger grid, it's going to take a bit more. Multipart is it's forge multipart, and it's quite stable, but it's like handling internal data for Forge multipart, etc. etc. Here you can see the Opis tick handler, which is sending data to the new interface every second or so, so it's taking a bit of time too, etc. etc. The chunk timing, it's about the same thing as before with like the top chunks. Uh, Only difference is now it's taking entities into account. So you get like the worst, the 100 worst chunks, and it gives you like the worst tail entity and entity combined. So for example, this one have 4 entities in it. This one have 3 entity and 3 tail entity. And as always, you can center them upon it. So it's a chunk where I am, or you can teleport to it, and it's going to teleport you to the center of the chunk. So if I hit teleport, it's going to teleport me back to the center of the chunk, as we can see here. And of course, it's working across dimensions, and so you can teleport to any dimension or center them upon any dimension. The next feature, dimensions, is going to take a bit more explaining. It's a real-time display of all the dimensions and a bit of overview. So you get the dimension ID, the name, the number of players in the dimension, number of forced chunks and loaded chunks, numbers of players, monsters, animals, and stacks, and the global update time for the dimension. It's a bit like the QTPS command if you have it available on your server. What requires a bit of information are those purge commands here. So the purge per dimension and purge all are doing the same thing. And to understand what they're doing exactly, I'm going to go back to the loaded chunk overlay. So here we can see the chunk which are loaded by the game, the forced chunks here. And one thing with Minecraft is it has a bit of a problem when it comes to unload chunks. So let me just fly a bit away from the zone where I was, and it's going to become quite obvious. So we can see the number of loaded chunks increasing here and decreasing because Minecraft is like loading and unloading chunks as it goes. But one problem is, I think I'm far enough now, if we open the map and look at the loaded chunks. Okay, so it didn't do it this time around. So we can see some lingering chunks, like here and here, which are not properly cleaned up. In a solo world it doesn't really show that much, but in a multiplayer world you are going to have to reach really high value in loaded chunks just for with people walking around, and chunks are going to have a hard time to be unloaded properly. So that's why I have those purge command. So if you hit the purge command, you are going to have a tooltip, not a tooltip, confirmation window. So the first confirmation is going, do you want to kill all hostiles? If you answer yes, it's going to kill all monsters, so as you can see here. And monsters are going to respawn slowly. Here we go. They start to respawn. And you can see in real time the game engine trying to clear the chunk and everything. The next one is, do you want to drop to remove all dropped items? So here you see the number of stacks, which is increasing. The thing is that nothing is actually dropping stack right now. It's just random event which are creating stacks. And from time to time on some of the on house server we have like a really large amount of those, and it really like puts the server down. So I put a command to remove them. If you say yes, it's going to remove all the stacks. So be careful with this, because those stacks are what you get when you drop an object on the ground. So don't do it without telling your players first. Otherwise, you are going to maybe remove items that are like dropping on the ground for legitimate usage, for legitimate gameplay. And you have the purge command, which is going to try to remove all the loaded chunks on the dimension, and but using the normal vanilla method, just more being more aggressive on the number of chunks you can unload. So it's not going to do anything weird like unloading chunks under players, or unloading chunks which are force loaded, or unloading the spawn. It's just going to do what Minecraft do, but making sure it does it like up to the last chunk. So if you do a purge chunk, so here I don't have lingering chunks, so it's a bit hard to see, but you can see that here. You can see the value dropped, and it's going to bounce back as Minecraft is starting to reload a few chunks it judge are required. So the demonstration in single player game is not really telling, but on a multiplayer server, when you do it after a while you can have like 5,000 loaded chunks. You run the command and you drop to 1,000 or 2,000, and you can see the TPS, which is dropping dramatically, the tick time, which is dropping dramatically as the server free more resources and stop taking stuff which it shouldn't take. So the next feature is going to be rendering. So what is rendering all about? Let me go back to my test area. Okay, so rendering. So sometimes when you look in some direction in your single player world or multiplayer world, you get like FPS drop. It's due to some entities or tile entities which are just which are taking too long to render. Rendering, those two tabs are to profile those rendering and to find out which blocks are taking too much time to render. So you can run it without being an admin or whatever. You can run it. You just have to click on Run Render. It's going to take 5 to 10 seconds, and it's going to show you everything which is currently rendered by Minecraft. So we can see the 3 barrels here. We can see the chest here. And we can see the chunk loader, which is funny Minecraft stuff. The chunk loader is behind me, but it still takes time to render. Don't ask me why. So you can see the amount of time taken for each, and so you can start acting on it, basically. So. And it does the same thing with entities. So right now you can see the pigman and squid, I guess, in the water, and some zombies, which must be underground, so you can't really see them, but they are still rendered, and things like that. So it's a good way to determine what is lagging your server. For now, you can't teleport directly to it. It will be added in a future version. One last word about all this. I got a lot of requests about having a way to prevent players to see any of Opis data. So now you have a few config file. You have a config file with a few options. So what you can change in there is the minimum level to be able to actually open Opis, the new interface. So you have three access level: none, which is a normal player; privilege, which is a new grade in authorization that you can give to players, and they will be able to run Opis and open the interface and do stuff in Opis, like the purge command; and admin, which is a normal server OP, server administration. The next one is the minimum level to show the overlays. So same way, you can, by default, anyone can see the overlays, but you can change that. You have the minimum level to see the tables, so it's all those tables here that you can by default everyone will be able to see them, but you can say that only the privileged people can do it. So people will be able to open Opis and get the summary, but all other tabs are going to be empty. So they will not be able to pinpoint players or blocks or whatever. And you have the list of privileged people, which you can edit to add a player by username. And there is a command in game, which is /opis add priv and player name. So let's say prof Mobius. It's going to now I am myself privileged, so I can DOP myself and still run command Opis commands without having to be privileged, to be server administrator. And that thing that covers it, more or less. So thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoy, and cheers!